Lisa.
Hey, John.
Did your mother ever told you you have swollen lymph nodes?
Yeah, when she thought I was sick.
What the hell did that mean?
She was like, press right here. I don't know.
All right, you know what? I got somebody that can explain that.
Okay.
What if all you needed to get better in every way was available at the touch of a hand, or the sound of a voice, or even a vibration? Let's talk about how that happens, who can do it, and where to find them. I'm John Webster, and this is the Hesitant Healer.
Greetings and welcome to yet another astounding, amazing, informative piece of the Hesitant Healer. I'm John Webster, and I'm here with my trusty sidekick, Lisa K.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
You may notice if you have us on the YouTube that in the middle there, like the Brady Bunch, we have a fine-looking specimen of a massage therapist, and this is Mandy Alcazar. And Amanda, as her friends know her as, and I went to school together. And I think she's been on the podcast before, and I mentioned then she was the first person I met in massage school because she was walking across the parking lot looking a little harried. And I said, "Are you ready for this?" And she gave me one of those, like, "Who's this old guy talking to me?" And she goes, "No." And then she just walked into the class, and it's we've been buddies ever since.
You've been best friends ever.
Hi, Amanda. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, John? How you doing, Lisa?
Doing well. Thank you.
We're okay. You look fabulous, by the way. I haven't seen you in a bit. You look good. I like your hair.
Thank you. It's all the lymphatics.
Yeah.
Nice segue. Way to go.
Nice.
So we went to the massage school in 2006, which
We
means
graduated 2005.
crap.
That's-
Which means
Mhm.
we've
December
been doing
2005.
this shit for 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I've learned a bit and a thing or two since then.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your journey when you got out of massage school. What happened? What'd you do?
I worked at a little CrossFit gym for a while, and then worked various places with some chiropractors, and just continued to buckle down with massage and really hone in on what medical massage is, gearing it towards pain relief. And
they told us, you and I went to a thing that was billed as a medical massage school, but the
Yes.
reality was there's no such thing as medical massage. And we've kind of had to push that narrative because if you pressed me and you for a massage license, it just says massage therapist. It doesn't say medical
right.
massage. So we have to distinguish to our clients and to the general public what a medical massage, here, hang on, I can do that better. What a medical massage means to the general public. And for you and me, that's a lot more anatomy and a lot more ancillary specialty kind of things. What kind of things did you learn?
Well, with the help of you too, I learned a lot more about fascia. Yeah, so that
We
was
love
a
the
game
fascia.
changer. That was a learning myofascial release, delving into that, working with it, understanding it, and seeing how it can change people's pain levels drastically. So just honing in on that, especially the myofascial release, and working with people's nervous systems, helping them get out of fight or flight. I just really delved into that. That also helped relieve their pain with the myofascial, the deep tissue. It was a blended, tailored massage is what I've come to realize what medical massage is. It's tailored for each person. It's not a cookie cutter massage. It's every person is different and has different things going on with them. So, yeah.
I think also, I'm not a massage therapist. That the thing that I would say is that medical massage therapy for people who are in pain or who have issues, I think it changes the quality of your life because a lot of times, probably at least 3 or 4 times a week, we have a client that comes in who's in so much pain that pain is overriding everything in their life. Like I don't want to cook, I don't want to shop, I don't want to take care of my kids, all of that. And I think anything that gives you relief at that point, because the medical Western medical system is definitely changing, and it's, what is it, 8 minutes? 8 minutes now, I
Per
think,
per client?
per patient, and they don't have
Oh,
time to listen to, it really is sad because I can't pick my kids up. They don't care, and
Yeah,
but
if you watch the Pit,
yes,
all that charting, they have to
I
do
have
all that charting, all that's gotta get done, and
right.
that's more important than actually seeing the client a lot of times. Yeah,
Definitely, because that's
sure.
how you get paid. But anyway, I'm sorry, I just wanted to jump in and add my 2 cents.
So what happened after that, Mandy?
So I guess delving into how I got into lymphatics, I was doing medical massage. I had a family friend who was fairly young, like in her 20s, who was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she had an inoperable tumor that was wrapped around her aorta. And at the time, I had as much training as our school gave us in the lymphatics, which was not very much, right, John?
It was pretty basic. It was what the lymph
Yeah.
system looked like.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
And that was about it.
So it was very minimal, and I had that training, and I wanted to learn as much as I can to help her. That led me to the Academy of Lymphatic Studies. I ended up getting certified in manual lymphatic drainage in the Vodder Technique.
Where was that lymphatic study school at?
This one, they have them all over the country. This one was in El Segundo. They have
Okay.
them all over in different cities. And when I got the MLD certification, I realized that there's even more to know. So I was certified in MLD and working on her, and I realized I didn't know how to reroute the fluid yet. I had to become a lymphedema therapist. So I took the next course, which is the bigger course, the Certified Lymphedema Therapist Training, and I became a CLT. And I've been doing that since 2023.
So
And that was
you didn't get into that right away.
no, so I did the
How far in were you as a massage therapist when you got into that specialty?
I, well,
Like 3
yeah.
years?
So I graduated massage school 2005,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't get into lymphatics until 2022,
Wow.
and then I became
Wow.
a CLT 2023, and I've been
Wow.
doing that ever since. And the CLT training is when I got really deep into helping people change the fluid. Yeah, the lymphedema certification and training was when I really learned how to move that fluid out. Yeah, I mean, you can do it with the MLD certification, but the lymphedema training is when you learn how to reroute fluid from blocked areas, and that was
So
a game
a
changer
lot of
for me.
people, two things. For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, if you've ever seen somebody that has gigantic ankles and all the way up to the knee, that's swollen lymph in the extreme. That's pretty extreme case there. Lymph's gotten a lot of traction on the internet lately too. Maybe in the last 6 months to a year, I've gotten calls from people asking for lymph massage. They don't really know what it is though. They saw it on the internet and they thought it was cool. In fact, as a sidebar, recently in the last couple of weeks, Leanne Rimes, the country singer Leanne Rimes, showed a video of her getting mouth work done. So somebody's way up in here doing mouth work, and all of a sudden she just starts bawling. I've had 3 phone calls off of that video asking people. One, a regular customer showed me the video and said, I want you to do this next time you're here. 2 people came in and said, this, I want this, I like emotional release, like that Leanne Rimes video. So we're starting to get that kind of weird traction in my services, because that kind of thing is starting to show up online. About 2-3 years ago, lymph was the thing. It started showing up. Fascia more and more is showing up on online as informational thing. And as people are starting to trickle these words into their vocabulary and learn how these things work in the body as they get more health conscious, lymph is a natural progression to aiding in those systems. And as a trained professional, I'm sure you don't just see the people with the big ankles. There's a variety of different things you see as a lymph specialist. Give me some examples of what somebody would come to you for, or what you can do to alleviate some of those things. And then maybe even an example of somebody that you've really helped that they had no idea that what you do could have made such a difference in where they are now. That's a lot.
Okay. This is a big question because I'm like, I don't even know where to start, but here we go. So I can only speak on the Vodder technique. That is what I do from Emil Vodder, who named the technique back in like the 1920s. And the Vodder technique is very specialized because Emil Vodder, who discovered this technique, back in the day, he injected people with mercury. And the mercury went into the lymph nodes. Obviously, he studied these bodies, saw, and you know anatomy, John, so you can imagine if you saw a lymph system filled with mercury, you could get your hands on it and see the entire system. So he really studied the pathways, the vessels,
Wow.
and the Vodder technique really focuses on creating pressure that pulls the fluids into the vessels down to the nodes and then pours into your blood system. It's not about pushing fluid here and there. It's about kind of creating a spasming effect in the vessels
And a
and
lot of
pulling the
what we
fluid into the
learned,
blood system.
the basics that we learned was it was all about pushing fluids through that system.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
We put up a schematic. We put up a schematic that kind of shows a little three-dimensional of what that lymph system looks like. And we opened with you have swollen lymph nodes, which we probably all heard as kids. But that system, basically, for those of you who've never seen it, it's just under the skin. It's subcutaneous, this system. So if you press into a muscle, you've gone way too deep. It's subsurface. And they do go deeper ones, but the majority of the lymph nodes that you have throughout the body, there's a lot in the face and neck, there's a lot under the breast and the armpits, there's a lot in the inguinal nodes right in the crease between your thigh and your belly. Those, the venous system that Amanda's talking about is not veins that blood flows through, but these are veins that lymph flows through. This is called interstitial fluid. And the interstitial fluid is kind of, we were told in school, this is like the trash can of the blood system. So it cleanses constantly. It's always looking for stuff to clean out and take and throw back into the system to clean it out and take the good stuff and get rid of the bad stuff. So those tributaries of veins are intermingled with nodes, and the nodes are pumping stations, correct? And so the pumping stations pull that fluid into dumping stations where it gets cleaned out, correct?
Yes, yes. It's actually okay. So, where the lymphatic loads are picked up are in what we call the initial lymph capillaries. So, they're not veins, but they're tiny finger like projectiles that are poking at the just below the skin and pulling from interstitial fluid. That's where the fluid starts to flow into the lymphatic system in
Okay.
these initial lymph capillaries. And it pulls only 4 things for the lymphatic. Do you know what the lymphatic load is made out of? What is it? It's
No
water.
idea.
The lymph system pulls water, which is a huge thing.
Okay.
Okay, we all know people feel less bloated after lymphatic drainage, stuff like that. Water, proteins, and all the cellular debris, which is viruses, bacteria, fungi, even spores that you inhale through your nose.
Oh,
It picks up all of that. And the last is fats, which are long chain fatty acids. And then you get the short chain fatty acids picked up in your small intestine.
so I come in and I have cellulite. Can you fix my cellulite with a lymph massage?
I have a lot to say about that. I feel like I want to get there. We're going to get there. Okay. So I want to get back to where it picks it up. Okay. So you have all this lymphatic load, that 4 things that we talked about, the water, the fats, the proteins, and the cellular debris. So it's picking it up from the interstitial fluid, the capillaries, which are super tiny, right? They're super small, smaller than the veins, smaller than the arteries. They're all over your system. Like that, I think you had shown a picture earlier of the lymphatic system.
Correct.
It's not showing the capillaries. In fact, for everyone, you will never get swollen on the palms of your hands and the bottoms of your feet because that is your most dense initial lymph capillaries. This will never swell. Yeah, and your bottom of your feet will never swell, even with severe lymphedema.
There's some
Everywhere
knowledge right
else
there,
will.
Lisa.
But so it'll pick it up from there, bring it down to these pre-collectors, so that it starts to get a little bit thicker. The vessels get a little bit thicker down to the lymph vessels, and the lymph vessels have little chambers. I'm going to use my hands here. I know this is a podcast, but I don't.
No, wait, we're online too, so you can use your hands. Go ahead. I'll
I
use your
wish I
hands.
had those little hands.
I'll send you a pair.
So it sends all this fluid down to the lymph vessels. So then once you stimulate the vessels, as you pull and stretch with this technique, which I'll explain, the Vodder technique specifically, it creates a little contraction, a spasming. There's no pump in the lymphatic system at all. It's dependent on movement from your body, your skin, your breath. And as that movement stimulates the vessels, it pushes that lymphatic load that came from the initial capillaries.
I'm going to go back to the thing that you said, which was there's no pumps. I've always used that word to describe lymph, and I need to revisit my vocabulary in terms of how the lymph system works. What is a different word I can use besides pumping station?
Yeah, so I know that I understand why you use that, but I would say that you are stimulating spasmings in the vessels. Like you're
Spasming. Okay,
stimulating,
all right.
you're contracting. Yeah, it's not there's no pump. There's no pump. So then it goes down into the lymphatic vessels and you create this like almost like where my brain goes, try to make connections. And I know, John, you always have great analogies to everything. But it's like the peristalsis in your stomach. You know how it contracts and squeezes through? That's kind of what.
That's a great example. A great example.
Yeah. That's kind of what it's doing. Okay. And it's all pumping towards your blood system. It has to go from wherever it is at the skin down to your collarbone here. It dumps into your subclavian vein. All that lymphatic load, and it gets filtered through your heart, your kidney, your liver. That's why there's a lot of precautions before I even see anybody, whether they have an intact lymphatic or a broken lymphatic, which we'll get there in a second. I have to make sure there's no heart conditions, there's no kidney issues. There's a whole slew of questions that I ask because I have to make sure that that lymphatic load is safe for the heart because it goes through the heart, liver, kidneys, and comes out your urine. And then the bigger proteins come out your waste. So
what kind of things could happen if you overload those? Like, could you have a heart attack because you're doing a lymph drainage?
yeah, you can loosen a blood clot. So the risk of DVT
Oh
is
my
a
goodness.
real thing. I know people think, oh, just get a lymphatic drainage, but there's a lot of precaution. Not everybody. I had to turn a few people away because I am very thorough about that to make sure there's no risk. Um, so yeah, you just have to be cautious about that. With blood clots and heart conditions, you don't want to tax the heart in any way. Um, Usually with any kind of pacemaker, it's contraindicated for MLD. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That I
So you
did
do
not
want to
know
be
that.
careful with that. Mhm.
Okay, continue.
So where do we go from here? So you get all the lymph flow to go into the blood system, and then your blood takes over and filters it out your body. So you can urinate a lot, eliminate a lot. A lot of people feel a little lighter. Some people may feel a little groggy, just depending on
Well,
if maybe yeah, they have some stuff that could kick on their immune system because the lymphatic system is part of your immune system. That's where all the white blood cells go to attack things are in the lymph node. So as you're moving the lymphatic load through there, the nodes are where they kill all the stuff that's nasty in your
That's
body.
that.
Yeah.
Got it. That's why
And
mom
then it
would do
gets
this,
dumped out.
right? When she thought you were sick because you have lymph nodes under here. And my mom always said if they're swollen, you're sick. So
Yeah.
that was super simple. But that's why she would feel there because you have a set of lymph nodes there.
Yeah, your lymph nodes can swell from obviously infection. They can actually just swell just from being bloated with water too. So it doesn't always mean you're sick. And also, what I've uncovered just doing this for a while is that there are sometimes cases where lymph nodes can kind of lock down and shut indefinitely for no particular reason.
Wow.
They
And
just hold
you
it.
can have
It's like the last
chronic.
line of defense, and they hold it, and then I felt that before. Super hard, like a
Yeah. And there's
little
nothing
jelly.
you could do about it if that's the case that lymph node decides to, like, lock down for whatever reason. There are cases where they just will not drain.
Have you
Um,
seen you have not done a dissection class yet, right?
no, you've invited me to
You you
your
you need
dissections
to get
many
you
times, and
need to get in there. You need to get in there
it
and see.
seemed
I
gnarly.
I have such a visual of a lymph system and lymph nodes. They're pretty distinct when you get in there. It's harder to find the capillaries, but you can find the nodes pretty easily. But in the first dissection class I ever did up in San Francisco, one of the donors, one of the cadavers, was literally riddled with cancer. It's the first time I ever got to see what riddled with cancer looked like. Every part of that body had cancer tumors throughout it. But underneath the armpit, when they opened up the axillary, the nodes were as big as gumballs. And
They
it
can
was
get
just a
huge.
tree of gumballs, which are imitating life. It's such a visual for me. When I came back home in the next week or two after that, Redlands is pretty well known for its orange groves or whatnot. I was passing by a grove and there was an older deadening tree that didn't have any leaves on it, but it had all the wiry branches and whatnot with all the fruit on it, and it looked exactly like that thing did.
Oh,
So
wow.
as a visual, you can see how the body fights those kind of infections, even in worst case scenarios like that, like cancer. It was still fighting to try and trap that, and it had so many different things inside those stations that that was one of the last lines of defenses for that body before that poor person
Yes.
passed. But they're
Yes.
your little fighters. They're your little armies inside your body that are trying to kill stuff.
Cancer cells included. Yeah. That is what happens in the nodes. Yes. So it is very good to keep your lymphatics healthy and moving. You want a free flowing lymphatic system.
You've mentioned that a couple of times. The best way to keep this going, and they did tell us this in massage school, and I think it
Mhm.
still holds true today. One of the best things you can do is rebounding. Just getting
Yeah.
one of those tiny little rebounders and just bounce on it because that gets everything. If you think about the fascia as an elasticity in the body, doing this is pulling those capillaries apart and helping that fluid that Amanda mentioned move throughout the body. The other thing is something very simple that we can all do. Most of us can do. Walk. Just walk. Any kind of movement is good for the lymph system. So if you're not moving your lymph. If you're not
That's
moving your
correct.
lymph, it's sedentary. If it's
That's correct.
sedentary, you have a tendency to get sicker quicker, as opposed to if
Mhm.
you're moving and healthy, you get more air, you get all the things that go with being in a healthier lifestyle. So moving the lymph system is a positive thing. Moving your body moves your lymph
Yes.
system, and it's a positive thing.
You know what? And if you even want to just do a vibration plate too, those are also phenomenal. Yeah, I recommend that a lot. Yeah, vibration plates are great. If
I've got one
yeah,
right here.
they're great. But there is something I did want to mention. how the rebounding works, and it's because the negative pressure from the bounce. Okay, so the capillaries, the lymphatic vessels, the nodes, they're attached to the surrounding tissues by something called anchoring filaments, which are teeny tiny tendrils that are holding on. So like the capillary kind of hanging on like this, the nodes hanging on like this. And as you move the
It's a new dance.
skin, yeah, as you move the skin, that's what moves the vessel and the flaps of the nodes to open. So as you're jumping, that's the tendrils are pulling on these little flaps to kind of open and move things. And it's really the anchoring filament pulling on the vessels and the capillaries and the nodes are what's creating that to open.
You can see a lot of that schematic in that video, Strolling Under the Skin. You've seen that, right? Strolling Under the Skin? I think I showed it to you.
You showed me that,
Yeah, and
actually.
he has a really good animated schematic of those tendrils that you're talking about. And if you guys are interested, look up Jean-Pierre Gimbarteau is the guy's name, called Strolling Under the Skin, which explains fascia the best I've ever seen it explained, next to Julian Baker.
Yeah, thanks to you, I've always had that great visual of what fascia is. It was a game changer for me too, to actually see that. Yeah, it really clicked for me on how to work with it too. So that was phenomenal, John. Phenomenal. I shared that. Oh, and speaking of fascia, by the way, can I just say how amazed I was that you had Daphne Moscow, who works with Tom Myers.
Lived with him and worked with him. Yeah.
It lived with. First of all, wow, that was incredible.
Like I knew because she was in that first dissection class. That's where I met her, and I knew she knew him really well. I didn't realize how well she knew him. That's royalty right there.
That's beyond a connection. That's like
Daphne's pretty amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
That was incredible, and I loved what she said because that was an amazing podcast. I loved what she said, where there's two different people: those who want to get well, and those who don't want to be sick. That was so good.
Right?
Thank you, Daphne.
And so profound. I mean, it sounds super simple, but it really is profound and so true. Yeah.
Yeah. Great podcast. That was great.
Oh, thanks.
So one more thing I wanted on this little journey, okay, where that's traveling to and all this. One thing I want to mention is that MLD, lymphatic drainage, is for people who have a intact lymphatic system, and especially for those who have a broken lymphatic system. I don't like to use the term like healthy lymphatic and unhealthy because that's not the case. It's either intact or it's severed. Really, it's not one is more healthy than the other. It's just either all intact or it was cut or broken in some way. Or in some cases,
that's from surgery? How would that happen?
Some people can be born with lymphedema. I had a case where she had primary lymphedema. It's called primary lymphedema. And what happened was she was born that way because her lymphatic vessels were so tiny that they were not efficient. She still had everything intact, but because she was born with such tiny vessels, that created her lymphedema.
Interesting. It just got clogged up. The system just got clogged up.
It just couldn't work.
And believe it or not, she has an amazing story. She did not get diagnosed until her 30s or 40s.
I was going to ask that question.
When her whole life with severe stage 3 bilateral lymphedema on her legs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the legs are definitely one of my specialties because that is the most difficult to kind of treat and rein in on the lymphedema because of gravity.
Right.
So she had she had primary lymphedema, and her one goal was to fit into boots for the winter, and we were able to do that. So
that.
that was, oh, it was really an
it's the little
incredible.
things. It's
It
the
is the
little
little
things.
things to fit
How
into
many times
boots.
have you had somebody get up and say, "I can hook my bra"?
I
Right?
was
Yeah.
just thinking of that
It's an
story.
important thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Can
I
I
can
tell that?
wipe my butt.
I-
It's just the
Mhm.
little things.
I'm going to tell that story real fast.
Tell that story.
So, I'm sorry, Mandy. I just want to do this really fast. So it is the little thing. So we had a client, sweetest woman in the whole world, had 2 frozen shoulders. She's a kindergarten teacher, and she was cleaning out her room, end of the year, moving stuff, and something over her head, and she shouldn't have done it, and she knew it. And anyway, both of her shoulders froze. And she came to John several times a week for several weeks. And the very one time she walked out and is getting better, getting better, getting better. And she came out and she literally was teary. And I said,
Mm.
are you okay? And she said, I just clasped my bra all by myself. And it was just like, those are those little tiny moments. Like, I just got boots on and I've never been able to wear boots. It's
That's
those
right.
little things. Goes back to quality of life, right? This is how
Yes.
I want to live versus how I'm able to live right now.
That's really, really what makes medical massage a little bit better, a little bit different than regular massage.
I would agree. But
Yeah.
anyway,
agree.
thank you for letting me tell that story. One of my
no,
favorites.
that's so beautiful. Of
It really-
course.
it was
yeah.
cute. It
Improving
was
their quality
adorable.
of life.
Yeah, it's true.
Everybody's.
It's what we do.
This is so.
So I have
Oh.
a question. Can I ask a question about intact and not intact?
Yes, I want to get into that. Yeah.
So get into it, girl. Let's go.
So a lot of times, in fact, John's wife had all of her lymph nodes removed on one
They
side.
removed 28 lymph nodes from her axillary region underneath her left arm because she had stage 4 recurrent metastatic melanoma. She had had a previous surgery 8 years prior when it came back. They had, in the first surgery, taken out the melanoma on the surface of her skin, and then they dug in and did a second surgery and took deeper.
Mhm.
And then she was cleared for 8 years. And then one day it came back
With
and
vengeance.
with a vengeance. And when they found it, it was in a lymph node. And the first surgery after that was the lymph node up from that line, and it did not have it. So they went into clearing mode. And as a precautionary measure, when they did that surgery, they took 28 of her lymph nodes in her under her armpit and around the inside of her chest wall. So as a result, that arm is always a little swollen. Now, well, luckily, or as happenstance would have it, she doesn't have to wear a sleeve. She doesn't have to compress it much. And maybe for the first 5 or 6 years, because it's been 20 years since that happened, the first 5 or 6 years, I had to do a lymph drainage on her once every 2 weeks or so. And lymph drainage for me was maddening because I want instant results, and you do lymph drainage and you don't see instant results. So I got to the habit of working on her before we went to bed, and when she'd wake up, she wouldn't be swollen. So it takes
Right.
some time for the lymph to process through. I will say, in my own journey as a diabetic who pretended he didn't have diabetes for a long time, there was a time maybe 10 or 15 years ago where my legs were swollen, not swollen a lot so you could see it, but they got a little harder and they got a little puffy with
Movement, exercise.
well, what's the pressing if you press in and it holds?
Pitting.
Edema.
Pitting edema. And pitting edema is if you press something and then you let go and that pit stays there. That's really
Bad.
well, it's not. Yes, it's bad, but I mean that's. I've always said that's really stuck interstitial fluid. It's super thick, and with the diabetes, because one of the things in diabetes is your blood gets a lot thicker. I believe so does the interstitial fluid, and so when that happens, my legs had pitting edema for a long time. Now I've since had clients that I've done lymph drainage on with pitting edema. To me, it's like pushing gummy bears through a straw. It you're not doing the light, airy, fairy, lumpy, bumpy kind of massage draining. You're really trying to push that stuff up through those capillaries because you have to get it out of the system because normal movement won't get it out of the system. Would that be correct? That's been my experience.
Okay, so what you're doing is you are pushing
Here
the
we go. She's
fluid.
gonna school me.
You
Good.
are pushing, manually sculpting the fluid towards the areas that will drain it. Because when you press too hard, the initial lymph capillaries are not going to be able to pull that fluid up. They're already shut. So what you're doing is you're actually pushing that fluid to the lymph nodes in hopes that they will pick it up in that area, which a lot of times with most people, that's the case. With someone with lymphedema, that wouldn't work.
And
So,
they're also in pain a lot too, right? Which
oh
is hard to
yeah,
do.
it can be
It's hard to do.
you're heavy, painful, throbbing. There's a lot of risk of infection when the fluid is stagnant for a long time. But also, again, just to clarify, people who have like pitting edemas, which is there's edema, which is the water retention, and then there's the lymphedema, which is protein rich. Edema, a lot of times there's a systemic issue going on. You have autoimmune disorder, heart disorder, things like that you have to clear before you can really proceed into the lymphatic drainage. Why are they swelling? They have a renal issue, they have a kidney issue, they got a heart issue, things like that. So you have to proceed with caution with edemas, especially pitting edema. You can't just push the fluid around because why are they swelling in the first place? And MLD could be contraindicated. So another thing that I want to mention too, you talked about Lisa. By the way, Lisa's cancer journey, John, is really incredible. Like,
Yeah, thank you.
no, how's she doing, by the way?
It's great.
I hope.
She's great.
She's phenomenal.
We're
Okay,
at 21. Lisa and I were dating when you and I were in massage school.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
our anniversary this year is 20 years. When we graduated, we got married the following year. So, and for those of you who are relatively new listeners, if you go back to episode, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there,
Yeah, somewhere.
maybe
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, I talk about that journey on an entire podcast myself. And then a little further down the line, 3 or 4 later, my Lisa tells it from her side of the story, which is a little bit different, but kind of the same. And just yesterday, I'm going to try not to make myself cry here. Just yesterday,
Aw.
there was somebody on the Today Show that was talking about the procedure that she had that saved her life. I can't even remember the name of it. But Lisa sent it to me, and it teared us both up because she talked about how that procedure, the one that they currently use for
It's gene therapy, is it not?
the one that they currently use for melanoma is the one Lisa was in. She was the last
in the
person in a
trial.
clinical trial for that.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's the thing that saved her life for sure.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a difference in how you would treat someone with an intact system.
Yes, I want to get back to this.
Yeah, and versus a non-intact. So, for instance, Lisa Webster has a non-intact system.
Okay. So we were talking about the primary lymphedema. Some people can be born. It's very rare though. Okay. And when we get into number one cause of lymphedema in the US, it's actually breast cancer surgeries. And worldwide, the number one cause of lymphedema in the world is actually filariasis, which is from a mosquito bite. It's a parasite that lives in your lymphatic system. That is the number one cause for these extreme
Third world
lymphedema.
countries?
Worldwide, yes. That is the number one cause of lymphedema is a parasite living in the lymphatic system, clogs it up.
Is there any way to
In
get
the
rid of it?
US, through MLD, complete decongestive therapy to try to, clear the system. Yeah. But I'll get into what
Can you,
complete
can you get
decongestive
rid of
therapy
the
is.
can you get rid of the parasite, or you just get rid of the symptoms?
I'm not sure exactly what the treatment is for filariasis. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's probably strong anti-parasitic medication. I can
Right.
only imagine.
Can't be fun.
No, not at all. But secondary, so there's primary and then there's secondary lymphedema, which is what Lisa has. If they've taken 28 nodes out of her body, she is short in her lymphatic system. Her lymphatic system is hindered, and she has lymphedema. Now, there could be years where she never swelled. That's what we call a subclinical lymphedema. Hopefully, she stays in subclinical forever and never develops the swelling. But she can progress into stage 1 and stage 2 and then stage 3. So things like a sleeve, like you mentioned, she doesn't have to wear a sleeve. I would probably advise her to wear a sleeve, because with subclinical, there could be a variety of things that could trigger the lymphedema to swell. That could be a hot day sitting in the sun. You could go in a plane and swell, and then it starts to never come down, because it's going to get overwhelmed. So wearing a sleeve is a protective measure. So you would wear a sleeve if you're really active and you're going to go on a heavy hike, or you're going to be in the hot sun, especially. That tends to be a trigger. Flying is the biggest trigger. Is most people will go on a flight and they come down, they're like, oh my gosh, my arm is swollen, or my leg is swollen, it's not going down, what's going on? And then they come in like, what's going on with me?
Yeah, like kind of panicked, like, oh my God, yeah.
And the reason for that is a lot of times when you're doing a life-saving cancer surgery, the doctor is not going to overwhelm you telling you, oh, you're going to have lymphedema for the rest of your life.
No.
They're not going to tell you that. So a lot of people find out years and years and years. That's what a lot of, I see a lot of patients like that, where they're coming in 10, 20 years down the line. I don't know what happened, but I had this surgery 20 years ago, but what does that have to do with why I'm swelling? Oh, that has pretty much everything to do why you're
Everything to
swelling.
do with why you're swelling,
Everything
right.
to do why you're swelling. So yeah, so yes, the MLD is for when you have someone who has never had severed lymphatic vessels intact, fully intact, just to keep things flowing. It's part of your immune system. But for someone with a broken lymphatic system, it's actually necessary, because the lymphatic system will not. It's a progressive thing.
Right.
So you have to
Never gonna get
manage it on
better.
a
Yeah.
consistent basis. Yeah. With MLD and complete decongestive therapy, which is what I'd like to get into about the
Yeah,
CDT.
let's talk about that.
Let's go.
Okay.
You're
Here we
doing
go.
great.
It's
You're
and
doing great.
fascinating.
thanks, John.
A lot of this I really didn't know, so thank you.
Yeah, she's a professional.
I know she is. I know.
She's a-
I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Okay, so the best treatment for lymphedema, any stage, like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 especially, is something called complete decongestive therapy. And it's consists of the manual lymphatic drainage, exercises. We take care of your skin. Skincare is really important, because as the skin stretches, it loses its ability to fight infections and stuff like that, because
Oh.
it gets stretched.
Right.
So then that's when you start getting ulcers and sores and cuts that don't heal. So skincare is part of that.
So older
And then
people have an issue?
of a
Yeah.
breakdown of skin. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And then the most important part is the bandaging. So this whole system, CDT, is what a treatment would look like is I would assess, the severity of the lymphedema. we're going to gauge how many sessions do we need to do to really shrink this limb. And that's usually a good maybe 4, anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 sessions a week for multiple weeks.
A week.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes,
That
they're
makes
going to be
sense,
coming in
though.
every day or every other day to change bandaging.
So are
And
you covered by insurance? Because that could get
I
pricey.
will get into this. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And in fact, in 2024, the Lymphedema Act was passed in Congress. And with anything regarding lymphedema now, of course, insurances are starting to really get into it. Your compression garments are covered every 6 months. This goes for your Lisa, John. Every 6 months, her insurances should cover her lymphedema and also a portion of her MLD treatments and also all of her bandaging supplies every 6 months.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And that's interesting.
He's writing all this down.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's fascinating. And a lot of insurances are a little like slow about it. But of course, I don't know all. I'm still learning about the insurances too because it's so complicated. And um, yeah, it is a little complicated. I'm not well versed in the whole insurance talk, but
Okay.
Right.
they will be because of that act. Pretty much anything relating to lymphedema, you should get insurance coverage. So, yeah,
Okay.
because it can add up every day, with the CDT treatment.
Right.
So going back to the process, so they would come in, I would assess about roughly how many, it could be give or take, a week or two, things like that. Because it also depends on how compliant they are as well, because it's very involved. So they come in, I do the lymphatic drainage, I reroute some fluid to different areas of the body that can handle the load, and then I bandage them, and they stay in those bandages for 24 hours and they see me next day. And then I take it off, we do the whole process again, rebandaged, and they do this multiple times a week for a few
Wow.
weeks, and then that is how you shrink the limb. And then you get fitted for your compression garment to contain, and you have to wear that every day
Oh,
while you're up and walking. Usually when you're sleeping, you can, um, gravity's helping you with when you elevate your legs. So, they make neck guards. Juzo makes, I work with Juzo. I love Juzo. Juzo makes an amazing night guard that you can wear in a night wrap. But during the day, you have to wear your compression garments. So once you complete treatment, we measure, and there's always shrinkage. It's the most exciting part at the end of the treatment is
Yeah.
seeing how many centimeters you've shrunk at the end of your treatment. And then that is the most intense phase. And then you're on a self-maintenance phase, and it's up to the
Lisa,
client
I
to
get points for not making a
continue.
shrinkage joke.
Yeah, you do get points for that.
Amanda didn't hear that.
So
No, I didn't. I'm so sorry.
I
Wait,
said
wait.
I said I get points for not making a shrinkage joke.
Of course
slow
you
down.
would go there. Of
All
course.
right, of course. So if I get to that point and I am at a maintenance point, I pretty much have to wear the garment for the rest of my life?
Pretty much.
Okay.
As a CLT, I would advise you to keep the risk low. I'm not
Got
saying you have to be in it 24/7, every day of your life,
right.
but you need to keep the risk low. So gravity, like when you're up and walking,
Right.
can contribute to swelling, like especially if you're being super active.
Right.
So it's up to the client really to gauge that. If you're
Got it.
maybe if you're
Yeah.
just at home and having a lazy day, would I tell you that you have to wear your compression? Like you have to be in your compression? Maybe not. But if you're gonna go out and, do some errands and stuff, I would probably advise you, yeah, put the garment on. Why take a risk of
Good
it
point.
swelling,
Right.
you know?
Right. That's
Even
amazing.
even a small fall or a trip could
Right.
could injure the area, and then guess what happens when you injure? Swelling. And then if you
Exactly.
have lymphedema, your body's not gonna be able to pick up that load, and then that's what will trigger. So, anyway, things like that. So I would advise to wear the garment. And then if, months go down the line, years go down the line, you feel like you're starting to swell again, you would do another round of intensive CDT and manage it.
Got
And
it.
then going back to insurances, I wanted to segue back to that. If after so many times of CDT, your lymphedema is still persistent, they are starting to now do successful lymphatic bypasses.
Really?
Yes, I have a client. This is
wow.
the most, I have a client right now who I am the most excited about because she's working with City of Hope. And from what she shared with me, you can be a non member of the City of Hope to apply for this particular surgery, which is a lymphatic bypass, where they take some of the vessels and dump it into the neighboring blood vein or
Uh-huh.
artery. I'm not exactly sure.
That's impressive.
That's
Oh, and they
amazing.
are relatively successful. So if you have someone who has tried, now they have to prove that you've tried the CDT and all the protocol,
Mhm.
and it's still persistent, you could be eligible to try this lymphatic bypass, which is,
Wow.
oh my
I
God,
did
just
not know that.
amazing. Yeah. So her life might be changed in the fall. So I am hoping and praying for that to happen. Yeah.
So after she has that surgery, would she come back to see you after that, or it's just
She
kind of
might
like,
not need me anymore.
That's
Yeah,
not a bad
because
thing.
it's
yeah,
not a oh yeah, no, I am thrilled to see this. This is like my first time experiencing this, someone with lymphedema. So the journey is just like so fascinating, and
wow,
I'm
that
like
is.
her biggest cheerleader. Like she's doing everything and she's awesome. So I wish that it goes well. Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. Really amazing.
Cool. We got about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
What do you want to say?
This has been so awesome. I could talk on top.
You are a wealth of information.
You
So,
are.
how can you tie us up here in the next 5 minutes? How you want to finish this?
Well, with again, I just want to make it very clear. With lymphatic drainage, intact or broken lymphatic system, it is beneficial for your health. Um, from my personal experience, because I've been trying to do lymphatics on myself, it's transformed my skin. John, do you
Here's the fucking
remember?
point.
Do you remember how my skin was always so terrible going to massage school, just congested, acne. Oh,
What's the right answer here, man? You were always beautiful to
you
me.
know women, don't you?
That was the right answer. That was it. That was
No, but
Uh,
this is actually an important
that was
point.
a very
You
wise
did
response.
you did have pretty bad acne back then.
Oh,
And
it was
this is
terrible.
one of the things that fixed that.
Yeah, so I've been
You
clearing
buried the
my
lead there. You could have started with that. That's a
yeah,
big deal.
it's a huge deal, and those that know me know my journey with my skin has been a long, long road, and ever since I always had swollen lymph nodes. So over the years, I've been trying to decongest, and my nodes are no longer swollen. It's taken a long time. Like you said, it's not an overnight thing,
right. Yeah. It's not a
you
flash
know.
bang, it's all better. Right.
So yeah, for me, the lymphatics has really improved my health, my digestion. I usually do a little bit of the vibration plate. I have a rebounder, and I've been throwing in a lot of red light for its anti-inflammatory properties. That
Do
helps.
you do lymphatic drainage in the viscera and in the stomach area? And does that help with like IBC and bowel
Yeah.
issues?
Okay. So if you have inflammatory gut issues like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, dysmenorrhea, I can't always pronounce that
Yeah.
dysmenorrhea. Don't
If it's
really
got
know.
an E and an A, 2 R's and an H, I don't know
Yeah.
how to say it.
Yeah. There's a few inflammatory gut issues that I can't touch. You can't do MLD when you have such inflammatory gut issues. Like you have to
Because
do it
because
elsewhere. It's
it's too
local
inflamed. Yeah.
contraindication. Yeah. But for the most part, if it's under control, yes, it can help a lot with digestive issues.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So to sum up, we want to move, we want to bounce, we want to stay healthy and hydrate. And a healthy lymph system is a good thing. And there are professionals you can go to get such things done. I don't think you addressed the what's the word I'm looking for?
I have no idea. For what?
Pity legs.
Pitting edema. Oh, cellulite?
Cellulite. The cellulitis issue. We
Okay,
gotta
let me
tap on
explain that
that.
real quick.
Please do.
Okay.
Because they're coming. They'll come and ask. I want a lymph drainage to fix my cellulite.
No. The lymphatic load is the fats that are usually from your food, your digestion and free floating fats. It's not going to pull away the adipose tissue that's stuck in between the fat, which
Two
is
totally
cellulite.
different systems, correct?
So yeah, it's only going to pick the interstitial fluid. It's not going to pull out these gigantic globs of. Now it'll bring the inflammation down, which helps with cellulite, when you're super inflamed,
Also,
but it's not going to help with particularly cellulite. It might make you feel less bloated, which can help the protrusions, but it's not going to take
I had a
away
girlfriend once.
the adipose tissue.
I had a girlfriend once who, I think it would be fair to say, had a body type that was frumpy. That kind of gives you a visual. She had what a not a great person would call cottage cheese thighs, right? They were very lumpy. She had a lot of pits, right, from that type of
cellulite.
right.
Yeah.
This girl ran 5 miles a day, did triathlons, swam at least 2-3 miles twice a week. She was fit, and you could push through that layer and feel the muscle structure underneath. And it was before I got into any of this. It was before I knew anything about anything. And interestingly enough, she was a scientist who worked on wow, I've lost all my words. What are the things that the GLP-1s work on?
Well, it works on your endocrine system.
Well, no, they're specific. I can't think of the name. Anyway,
I
she was a big deal scientist. I'll never forget this line. And she just looked at me straight in the face. She wasn't even apologizing or anything for it. She goes, "You can't fight genetics.
It's so true.
You cannot fight genetics." So if you're and that old adage that guys will use, if you want to know what a woman looks like in her 50s,
Yeah, you look at her mom.
you look at her mother, right? You cannot fight that. So in this world where we put a lot of emphasis on looks and beauty, especially in the internet world and the TikTok world and whatnot, this is not a fix for that, right? What you should be
No.
doing is working on yourself and working on your inner self and your projection of how you feel about yourself, because this is the only body you got. But if you want that to feel better, lymph is the way to go. If you want it to look better, there's not a whole lot you can do sometimes. And surgery is not a great thing to make that better,
Well,
in my opinion, right?
For cellulite, I mean,
For
surgery in general.
cellulite.
Right.
Body sculpting for cellulite.
It is, yes, that's both.
I'm like, be happy.
It will make you
with what
look
got.
trimmer. Yeah, body sculpting is different. Again, that's it's not the Vodder technique. So
No.
they're
And that's
pushing.
not what this podcast is about today.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so funny that you said that, because I was just on Instagram last night, couldn't sleep. And I saw a girl on there, and she was, oh my God, I went and had lymph drainage and I lost 5 pounds. And I'm like, first of all, I'm a little not sure that that's how much you lost. And did you only go in to lose 5 pounds? And that certainly is what it made it sound like. But it's the cool hip thing. Like John said, it's like what everybody's talking about right now is lymph drainage.
We'll take their money and school them.
No. It's water.
Really, that's
water.
what it was.
Water retention.
It's
Right.
water.
Yeah.
You will get the amount of fats that the lymphatic system takes out is minimal.
Yeah.
Very, very minimal. And people don't talk about that. It's minimal on a great scale. It's mostly so yeah, you will feel trimmer and you will look less bloated and you will feel sculpted, but it is mostly water.
Yeah.
Right.
Julian, my buddy Julian Baker talks about that in targeting belly fat. He goes, explain to me how that gets targeted.
Right.
Because there is nothing in this planet that targets belly fat.
Right.
Your fat is system-wide.
Right.
Just like your lymph system, just like that fluid retention, it's all system-wide. Nothing's targeting.
And I had to
nothing
do a
body-
deep dive on that to really understand that myself because it's all around me, body sculpting, and everyone tells me, oh, MLD, that's what makes you skinny. And I'm like, well,
Yeah, we're here to
Right. Yes and no. Yeah. Right.
yes and no. Yeah,
Right.
I would never go on that train of thought that it would make you skinny. I mean, yeah.
Right. Well,
we look good the way we are. We just look good.
I think it's a really good thing, especially in the day and age of TikTok and Instagram and everything else, that professionals like you and like John, the emphasis is this making you healthier? Like,
yeah.
rather than is this making you look really good for the next day? I always am really, really worried about people who have a quick fix and who are just doing it to look better. Looking good is awesome. Yes.
You know what? I have a client that said it's been over 2 years we've been doing consistent lymphatic drainages, maybe like once every couple months. She has an intact lid. She's doing it for health. 2 years. There are a lot of times she's like, I'm not really feeling much because it's so light, but she stuck with it. And in 2 years, she said, looking back, my husband was getting sick a lot. My daughter got sick a lot. I wasn't getting sick.
See?
Like,
Amazing.
I don't want to say like it was because, but that's the result
Part
right
of it.
there. Is it?
You already said
I've
that. That's
seen
part of your
improvement in the
system.
immune system. Yeah,
Right.
Part of the immune system. That's a
it
great
is part
big
of the immune system,
Right.
and it's like a thing
Well,
you can
Mandy,
do to
you've been-
boost it.
You have been a wealth of information. Thank you for sitting with us today.
Thank you.
And
Thank you guys.
we will continue to talk like we do.
Mhm.
And I guess that's all we got.
I guess that's all we got.
All right. Thank
You
you
guys
so
are
much.
awesome. I love your guys' podcast. I love it.
Thank you. How can people get a hold of you?
Oh, thank you. So I have my own clinic, which we just had our 1 year anniversary. So I am just
Wait. You get
over the
get
moon.
one of these. Hang on. You get one of these.
Nice. Very nice.
That's awesome. Yay, 1 year.
Thank you. And so I'm located in South Pasadena. It's Massage Maven in MLT. And I'm 1445 Huntington Drive, Suite 350. I'm on the 3rd floor in this really nice building, medical building, and or office. And it's South Pasadena 91030. And come and see me for lymphatic. If you'd like medical massage, I do both. And I usually do medical massage, lymphatic drainages, or we could even do a little bit of what I call a combo, depending on, and we always discuss before your treatment what would be the right pathway. Yeah.
Right.
So come and
Cool.
see me.
Both here.
And I also have my website, massagemavenmld.com. And you can click on there to schedule.
That's
MAVEN. Yes. And my online booking schedule is on there. So you can literally make appointment just by going on my website.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome
Thank you,
talking to
guys.
you always.
Always.
All right, Lisa, say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Be good humans.
Be good humans. All right. Peace out, dogs. Bye.